Thank you for joining for another video. This is Brett and some books. Today we are reading Am I Blue Coming Up from the Silence? This short story is called Slipping Away by Jacqueline Woodson. My mother stands in our summer house kitchen, cutting ripe cantaloupe into wedges. Sitting by the window, I go back and forth between watching the reflection of her flawless movements and imagining new colors for the weathered gray chairs we have just put out for the season. I'm waiting for Maria, so Mama and I say nothing to each other, and the kitchen is quiet save for the sound of metal meeting wood. My mother is tanned, and her skin looks strange against the rush of gray and blonde hair above her ears. Her linen pants are stained and wrinkled, stopping short above her pale ankles. The moccasins she wears are stretched out and turned over at the heels. She has thrown my father's t-shirt on over a bikini top, and as I watched her reed-thin body jerk with the rhythm of cutting, I wonder what my own body will look like at 38. Sometimes, I say into the window, I think I will keep on growing and never stop. My mother turns and frowns at me, then laughs, shaking her head. I watch her reflection in the pane. Dramatics, Jacina, she says, turning back to the melon. Jacina, the drama queen. But at 12, I am already 5 feet 7 inches tall, just 4 inches shorter than my mother. And although she swears I will grow into my height, my breasts are the size of half-eaten gumdrops, and my legs are skinny and long. My mother slices the rind from the last of the melon in one stroke and transfers it from the chopping board into a glass bowl that she sets on the table. Going to be a hot summer here, she says, pressing her chin against the top of my head for a moment as she stares out the window. Then, too quickly, she pulls away and goes to rinse her hands at the sink. Mama, I say, not knowing what to say next, but feeling a cold spot where her chin rested and wanting the spot to be warm again. Yes? Nothing. What, Jacina? Just nothing. It'll come back to you, she said mysteriously. She's smiling when I look back at her. I stare into her blue eyes for a moment, but don't smile back. My mother is the one closest to me in the world. Then there is my father. It has always been this way. The three of us together alone. In New Rochelle, where we lived most of the year, there are a few girls I spend time with, but we aren't close. Sometimes, watching those girls walking from school, hand in hand, I long for a friend I can be close to. A friend I can walk that way with and share all the things I'm thinking. But Mama says it's because I am too quiet and far away from the rest of the world. She says people are afraid of silence. In the summer, there is Maria. She is the other person I am closest to. And sometimes, in the winter, I long to call her up and say, come here and live with me in this cold place. But we are summer friends. There is a rule, it seems, that summer friends don't get together in the winter time. Now, sitting here waiting for her, I realize I've never seen Maria in a winter coat, and for some reason this makes me sadder than anything else in the world. In the distance, a car door slams. I listen. A few moments pass before there is a tap at the living room window. She's here, Mama! She's here! I scream, jumping off the white vinyl bar stool. I slam into Maria in the living room. We laugh for no reason at all as she throws her bags onto the couch and gives me a shove. I give her a shove back and we laugh again. She's almost as tall as I am now. Hi, I say, catching my breath. Maria is wearing one of the white beach dresses we bought together last August, but hers is too small across the chest where mine still fits fine. Her hair is out and tangled, falling down past her back in a mass of black waves. She pushes it out of her face and she laughs. We stare at each other for an awkward moment. Not knowing what else to do, I reach out to hug her, hard and fast and clumsily. Her arms are Her arms reach to hug me back, but I have already broken the embrace, so they are in midair for a second before dropping back at her sides. We laugh again. When'd you get here? Just now? I asked, motioning her into the kitchen, unsure of the reasoning for my embarrassment. I haven't even gone to my house yet, Maria says. My mother has set out peaches beside the cantaloupe and is working on a pan of scrambled eggs and cheese. She kisses Maria's forehead. Maria puts her arm around my mother's waist. You look good, Maggie, she says, and even my mother looks a little surprised. Those pants do a lot for your figure, Maria continues. Figure? I explode, laughing out loud. They glance at me, and I sink back into the stool, feeling dumb and young. It would be nice, now, to shrivel into the stool, then disappear. Figure. I wonder if I will ever have one, a nice one, like Mama's, and the one Maria is getting. I stare at Maria's hand on my mother's waist until it blurs. Mama says this is natural, to get sad about the silliest things. Hormones. But I know it's more than that. These days, more than ever, I feel as though I am slipping away, floating off like a cloud or a lost balloon. My mother must have gained 20 pounds over the winter, Maria is saying disgustedly. You have to see her. No, you don't. You don't have to see her. Your mom's pretty, I say, really meaning it. So what if she's gained weight? Maria looks at Maggie like they're in on a secret, but my mother doesn't return the look, and I am relieved. Instead, she moves the pan to the counter and stares down at the eggs. Maria comes over and sits across from me, smoothing her dress across her lap. She bites off the end of a piece of melon and chews slowly. Manhattan was crazy this winter, she says. There's a lot of people there. I say nothing and stare at her. All along I've been thinking it's her voice that has done a whole lot of changing, but now I realize it's the way she's talking. Her accent is gone. It seems like everybody is moving to the Upper East Side. All these new kids live in our building. Maria's father is a super on 55th and Sutton. The one time I visited her in the spring, the old ladies in the building came out to give us stale peppermints and pinch our cheeks. They asked if I was visiting from Puerto Rico, and when I told them I wasn't Puerto Rican, that my mother was white and my daddy black, they frowned and reminded Maria to tell her father about their clogged drains and flooding toilets. You sound different, Maria. My mother keeps saying that, but I've always sounded like this. No, you didn't. You had an accent before. I never had an accent, Maria says, getting angry. But the T at the end of accent is silent. I smile. Maria changes the subject. Your family is always the first one out, Jacina. You're lucky. That's because my father wants to get rid of us as soon as possible so he can do whatever he does when we're gone for 2 months. I felt a sharp tap on my head and turned to see my mother standing with the handle of a wooden spoon suspended above me. Enough, smart mouth, Mama says. She starts to kiss the place on my head, but I duck. Mom shakes her head and turns back to the eggs. I check my hair with my hand and come away with a tiny piece of cheese. Don't you miss him, Maggie? Maria asks. My mother lets out a small laugh. I think Nicholas and I have been married long enough to live without each other for a month or two. When I get married, me and my husband are going to do everything together. Everything, Maria pounds the table. You can't do new things with a tired old husband following around with you everywhere, right, Mama? Mama laughs again. You can't meet new people. There's a lot here this summer. I kept seeing all these cars. I know, Maria says, wrinkling her nose. Mostly lesbos. I saw a whole carful on my way here. This is a nice community, my mother warns. Don't worry about the lesbians. I'm sure they're not losing any sleep over you two. She says this in that way adults have of making it seem like they're teaching you a lesson, rather than scolding you. Have you ever heard of Martha's Vineyard? Maria asks. I shake my head and turn to my mother. Mama, have you? My mother nods. Nick and I thought of buying a house there before we bought this one. We changed our mind. Why? Maria noses. It's not a friendly place. I looked at Maria and shrugged. Orient Point, she continues, is more tolerant. That's why we chose it. Anyone can live here and not feel like a pariah. Oh, Maria says politely, and I know she does not understand what my mother means. After Maria takes her things home, we walk to the beach, mostly in silence, but occasionally belting out a song at the top of our lungs. Maria has a nice voice, but I sing off-key. The beach is chilly and almost empty when we finally get there. Climbing onto a rock, Maria and I take a look around. Two women stroll by holding hands and I wave. They wave back and keep walking. About 100 yards away, a group of women has started a picnic. The edges of their blanket blow up and over everything. Finally, each takes a place at one of the four corners and stretches to get at the food. Maria and I laugh and sit down. Cold air blows off the water, and I shiver, wishing I'd been smart like Maria and worn a sweater. We talk about nothing for a while, then fall silent for a long time. Justina, Maria says finally. Huh, you ever want to go someplace else? Like where? Like somewhere where there are boys and not just lesbos everywhere. Not really, I say, because I know that all I want this summer is to be able to go anywhere, and I want my mother and not to be stared at, not to be asked whether I'm black or white, and to watch the women up close and see if they are really, as my mother says, just like any other couples. I do. There's not only lesbos here, your dad's here a lot, and all those people in town are straight, and I don't know. This is where we live in the summer. I like it here. I like it a lot. Maria doesn't like my answer. I can tell by the way she wrinkles her nose. She busies herself with picking at the rock. Why do you think they bring us someplace that has so many anyway? You know good and well why, Maria. Because the people are nice. Everybody's been here since like forever. And your father said so himself, remember? He said he's not going to let the Dykes chase him out of here. Dykes. Whatever. I start picking at the rock myself. Who cares? I don't know. It just seems dumb. It seems like they want us to grow up and be like that or something. Like what? Like those women, stupid. The Dykes? Maria looks annoyed. Yeah, the Dykes. Are you kidding, Maria? As much as your father bugs us about them, as much as he yells at us to stop hanging out so much with each other and get some boyfriends, your daddy would rather you be dead or a nun or something. What about your mother? You think she wants you to be one? She's always taken up for them. I look at Maria for a long time. She stares back at me, and I'm the first to drop my gaze. A fear like nothing else I've ever felt before creeps slowly up my spine. Maria, my summer friend. Every summer for as long as anybody could remember. Remember, Maria, I want to scream, how we said we'd grow old together? Just you and me, forever and ever, amen? Please remember it all, Maria, all the promises. But I'm silent again. The silent girl I am all winter, and I feel Maria slipping backward, away from me. Sitting right there, but slipping away. And there is no way to catch her, no way to hold on. She takes up for them because she says they have a right, you heard her, I say to the water. She takes up to them because she married my father. What does marrying your father have to do with anything? This time it's my turn to get annoyed. My father's black, remember? I roll my eyes at her and turn back to the water. Small waves silently approach our rock. Oh, Maria says. My mother wouldn't care, I say, softly because I'm thinking it for the first time. If I grew up to be a dyke, my mother wouldn't care. She would just love me the way she does now. Maybe Maria moves an inch away from me. Maybe I just imagined it. Would you? Maria folds her arms across her chest and stares out over the water. Would I what? She nearly whispers. Would you love me, even though? There is a silence between us that is cold and wet as fog. I want to ask again, but I know she's heard me. When I reach to touch her arm, Maria pulls away. She looks over at the picnickers. They have finished eating now and are cuddled up into two separate couples. Dark wine bottles and cracker boxes rest beside the blanket. I don't know, Maria says. She stares at the couples for a long time. Then, saying nothing, she climbs down from the rock and heads up the beach away from them. I wait for her to come back. Rain clouds blow in off the water and stagger above our rock. In the mist, my hair kinks up around the edges like daddy's and blows into my eyes, my ears, my mouth. I pull my knees up to my chin and wrap my arms around them. Sandpipers dart along the shore. I watch them, waiting. Soon, the picnickers pack up and head down the beach, becoming four dots in the distance. Mama says everything falls into place somehow, and even the craziest things eventually start to make sense. She says we have to be strong and brave and patient. Two women walk by with a black puppy. They wave, but I don't wave back. I'm too busy waiting. Thank you, and please like, share, and subscribe.